And what's,
Well, Dharma Punx New York is a sister sangha of various Dharma Punx groups around the country. Started originally by Noah Levine, and he teaches in Los Angeles. All the Dharma Punx groups are basically fall under the classification, I would say, of Theravada/Vipassana. So I've been teaching here for 6 years, and our New York, we have New York, Manhattan groups and groups in Greenpoint, and basically it's a very open community. We have a lot of young people, a lot of lefties, a lot of just a lot of people that often don't feel that comfortable, welcome in some other sanghas, not because of the other sanghas, they just feel very comfortable here. And we really keep our costs here in New York as low as possible so that everybody, no matter what their financial or economic situation, can come. So it's completely by donation, and we keep really the suggested donations very, very low. And we've been lucky enough to be able to offer a lot of groups to a lot of people. Meditation, and so on Mondays and Tuesdays I teach meditation and give Dharma talks based generally on topics and the Pali Canon and stuff that is important to me as a practitioner in day-to-day life, how I work with my own stress and suffering and use the tools of the Theravada to basically find inner peace.
Great, thanks. Sounds wonderful. So, what's the Punx part of Dharma Punx?
Well, it was based on the book Dharma Punx by Noah, and it was certainly, he was a member of the, I can't remember, it was a California punk movement when he, I too grew up in the punk scene in New York. And basically, I think it denotes certainly take some of the energy and the outsider stance of punk rock, which is willing to say no to materialism and to the dominant ways that society wants us to find true happiness and security. Generally is from, of course, things like, you know, careers and 401ks and you know, all sorts of solutions that really will not help when it comes to the real problems and real challenges of life. Not only old age, sickness, and death, but real deep need for acceptance, for purpose, for working with our own low self-esteem, our own issues. All those things that society wants to shove at us generally don't give us lasting solutions. And punk rock was certainly a movement that was willing to say no to a lot of the careerist, materialist-based solutions of late capitalist America. And so is Buddhism. So they have those things in common. And I think we take a lot of that spirit and channel it into our spiritual practice. That willingness to cut to the chase, just like punk lyrics did. We're really pretty much, we present the Dharma in that way. And as you heard from my talk, there's a lot of, I hope, humor, a lot of, I try to not present myself as being enlightened, or, you know, sometimes when you go to Buddhist centers, the teachers have that you know, that yoga smile of hello, like, you know, they're over there and you're over here suffering and neurotic, and the energy is not that at all. I try to present myself as, you know, somebody who's sick and suffering like the rest, and using these tools to find more happiness. So I think it's based on a very root core honesty.
Great, thank you. Well, maybe the last question would be, so how do you see meditation coming together with New York urban lifestyle? It seems almost like, because you're talking a lot about peace, and you know, New York's pretty agitated.
Well, I mean, obviously agitation's within the mind. It's not just in New York. But one of the issues of any city like New York is that I mean, New York in and of itself has an extreme focus on careerism. Yeah, other cities it's about your car, or about, you know, if you lived in Boulder, it might be about your outdoor activities and how healthy you were. But in New York, you know, people really tend to focus on their identity. The first thing somebody will say to you when they ask who you are is they'll say, what do you do for a living? That's like how we identify. That's where we develop a sense of who people are. And so people can really obviously feel a lot of depression, suffering, lack of esteem, lack of achievement, simply because, you know, of a sense of unsatisfactoriness in their careers or what they're doing in the world. And of course, on top of that, in New York, you're in close proximity to a lot of people that have a lot of wealth. I mean, New York is a really small land mass that has a lot of people, and there's a great disparity between the poor, the disenfranchised, and the absolute rich. Today, Occupy Wall Street, which I wasn't able to go, I was there this weekend, but today they were marching uptown to see the houses of multimillionaires, and it's just a few blocks uptown. It's not like you have to, you know, go on a bus, you know, to go to where multimillionaires are. You walk a few blocks, and suddenly you're around people that have untold wealth. And to be around that, to be pressed up against that much material fortune and wealth, if you don't have a spiritual path, if you don't have inner peace, if you don't know how to let go of feelings of frustrations and slights in the world, well, then there's going to be a lot of suffering. So I think really, just as in any urban environment, it's really, really helpful in New York to have an inner practice where we find a sense of release and security and safety and acceptance within. So we're not trying to get it from places where we might not, where we have no control over, which are conditional and which we might not be rewarded. This is unconditional. It's blameless. You can always get it if it comes from within. So there's no side effects, doesn't cost any money, so there's nothing wrong with having mindfulness and meditation and a spiritual practice based on compassion and kindness.
That's fantastic.